On camera, Triple H is one of the meanest, most vindictive and heartless superstars ever to wrestle for WWE. Now, one might expect Triple H doesn't have too many friends when cameras stop rolling, regardless of how much power in the company he might have. Triple H no doubt has his enemies within the wrestling world, but he also has his fair share of close friends, both on a personal and professional level. This is 10 of Triple H's closest friends in WWE. Number 10. Chris Benoit. Regardless of how high up in wrestling industry Triple H ever becomes, there will always be at least one former friend of his who never benefits from his success in any way. Of course, that wrestler is the black mark on the entire industry, so the only person Chris Benoit has to blame for that is himself. Triple H has never spoken in depth about his friendship with Benoit, but it's very clear the two had a powerful mutual respect for one another, as evidenced in Triple H's comment during the now forgotten Chris Benoit tribute special. Triple H famously tapped out to the crippler crossface at WrestleMania 20, making Benoit's career dreams come true. Number 9. William Regal. William Regal has a strong reputation as one of the greatest technical wrestlers of this era, but he also has a reputation for nearly destroying himself with drugs and alcohol at several of the most important moments of his career. It might seem surprising that WWE has given Regal the number of chances they have, even considering that his in-ring work and skills on the microphone are virtually unmatched even by talent half his age. Most wrestling fans probably don't remember the fact that Triple H and Regal briefly formed a tag team during Jean-Paul Levesque's short tenure in WCW. The team barely made a dent in WCW at the time, and reports would indicate the two didn't become particularly close while they were tagging. Years later, Regal has claimed that Triple H was one of the wrestlers who would call him every week during his various layoffs and injuries, and it was their friendship that helped him get through many tough times. Number 8. The Phenom Undertaker. Triple H and Undertaker have had one of the most epic feuds in WWE history, with the stakes kept to very simple concept of respect. As it would turn out, the two may not have been secret best friends behind the scenes all these years, but they have managed to form a strong connection with one another based on that same simple concept. The Undertaker is one of the most respected wrestlers in WWE history thanks to his status as a locker room leader and his relationship with Vince McMahon. Triple H was the first wrestler to really challenge Taker's status in this regard, and Undertaker always seemed willing to support Triple H in his efforts to take over. The most telling story of Triple H and Undertaker's friendship came shortly after Triple H started dating Stephanie McMahon. Virtually every wrestler in the industry had strong reservations about Hunter dating the boss's daughter, including the other superstars on this very list. Undertaker, however, was the first wrestler to step forward and give the couple his blessing, feeling that Triple H was too career-minded to risk ruining it unless he truly loved Stephanie. Number 7. Sheamus. Sheamus is a slightly confusing figure in the modern wrestling world, considering his rise to a top contender in WWE was truly meteoric. Sheamus won the WWE World Championship only months after making his debut on Raw. Unlike some flash-in-the-pan stars, Sheamus has also stuck around long enough to win his 4th WWE Championship in 2015. But despite this, Sheamus really connects with fans the way a top talent should. Fans were merely shocked during his first title win, and were focused on the fact he looked stupid during his more recent reigns. Perhaps it has been a long-standing friendship with Triple H that has been keeping Sheamus in the spotlight all these years. From the very start of Sheamus' career in WWE, it was being reported that he and Triple H were workout partners. Considering how much time men with physiques like theirs spend in the gym, this quickly blossomed into a fast and genuine friendship. Number 6. Woo! Ric Flair. Ric Flair seems like an overly sentimental and emotional person whenever he starts to talk about history, but the legendary Nature Boy still manages to hold a very special place in his heart for the man he calls his best friend, Triple H. The two were paired on television for the first time in 2002, when Flair began managing Triple H and stood beside him as the senior member of Evolution. Off-screen, Triple H had respected Flair for decades along with the rest of the wrestling world, and when he had time to meet one of his heroes face to face, he was able to turn that respect into a friendship that has grown ever stronger to this day. Triple H returns the favor by always giving Flair the respect the Nature Boy deserves. Number 5. Road Dogg. Only a few years ago, the Road Dogg most definitely would not be making this list, despite the fact he and Triple H spent some of the best years of Road Dogg's career together as members of D-Generation X. Road Dogg was highly critical of Triple H before he made his return to WWE in 2011. In a shoot interview alongside New Age Outlaw partner Billy Gunn, Road Dogg called Triple H insecure and accused him of bearing any talent that could threaten his position. Several years later, the New Age Outlaws were both rehired by WWE, and any hard feelings were quickly forgotten about. Road Dogg has since been promoted to the role of a backstage producer, and more tellingly to his friendship with Triple H, received another run as WWE Tag Team Champion in 2014, long after peaking as a performer. Number 4. Dusty Rhodes. Triple H and Dusty Rhodes never wrestled one another, and it never would have made a great deal of sense for them to do so. Dusty was as dominant and powerful as Triple H in his heyday of the 70s and 80s, but was contemplating retirement already when Triple H started to step into the ring. It's kind of surprising the two even crossed paths in a non-wrestling capacity, as Dusty wasn't always thought to be one of the best terms with WWE, as Triple H rose through the ranks to the high executive position he has today. That changed when Triple H was in charge of NXT and appointed Dusty as creative director of the brand. Number 3. Scott Hall. Scott Hall is one of the most tragic and emotional stories in the wrestling world, for few have suffered with addiction in the same way this WWE Hall of Famer has. According to Stephanie McMahon, WWE has spent more money putting Scott Hall through rehab than any other performer, and Hall's friendship with Triple H is probably a big part of why the company is so ready to repeatedly go to ball for him. On number 2, a Big Daddy Cool, Kevin Nash. Triple H and Kevin Nash are such good friends that their union nearly destroyed one of the hottest WWE angles in recent memory. The summer of Punk had wrestling fans buzzing in a way they hadn't been doing in years, and when Triple H decided he wanted to get involved with Punk's rising star, he did so by having one of his oldest friends steal the spotlight and confuse everybody long enough for Punk's momentum to fade away. Kevin Nash appearing to attack CM Punk is still one of the more bizarre moments in SummerSlam history, at least until you take into account Nash's long and storied friendship with the game. Number 1, Stephanie McMahon. I'm sorry, Shawn Michaels. Stephanie McMahon was kept off this list by way of being married to Triple H, and honestly, we just about considered leaving HBK off this list for extremely similar reasons. Triple H and Shawn Michaels have been inexorably linked to one another since they formed D-Generation X in late 1997, and their friendship had already been forming for some time since that. While most of the friendships on this list have only been hinted at or vaguely referenced on television, the fact that Triple H and Shawn Michaels are real-life best buds has been one of the driving characteristics of both men for many years now. Shawn and Hunter's friendship isn't only evident in their team together, but also their many feuds against one another, and even against with other opponents. Triple H is usually wrestling to one-up his friend, and the last several years of HBK's career existed with the fact his best friend was slowly taking over the company, looming over every storyline he was involved in.